4 of the TA2 Muscle Car Series at Winton Raceway in Victoria saw George Miedeke and Aaron Seaton take 2 wins each. 16-year-old Nathan Hearns climbed back through the field from the back of the grid in race 3 was a standout performance. And while Seaton battled diff issues early in the weekend, Miedeke went on to take the first TA2 Top 10 shootout and set the grid for a 40-minute mini-enduro. Performax Cup Series leader Aaron Seaton nailed the front row hole shot and led into turn 1 for the final. However, it was the brewing battle between Miedeke's Mustang and Hearns' Dodge that livened up the Arvo considerably. While Hearn went for the infield after damage caused by an off in turn 1, Seaton was never headed. And although Miedeke won the round by just a single point, the post-race comments left no one in doubt that the series' intensity had peaked to a new level.
Yeah, our mate from down shed there, he was getting a bit aggressive with me and unfortunately didn't know his limits.
We race hard, you know, when he's in front of me, he blocks me, and when I'm in front of him, I'd do the same. So we were coming into turn 3, he made a big move and it was a good move, but he couldn't quite stop.
Round 5, the penultimate round, headed back to Sydney Motorsport Park, and with over 30 cars entered, this series continues to impress at all levels, particularly in presentation. Queensland's Anthony Tenkate was back with a brand new Mustang, about to turn a wheel for the first time. Greg Willis and Darren Berry's Golf liveried car led the Camaro contingent. Don Dimitriadis was back from overseas in the Dan Gurney lookalike Ford. He does own the real 1969 Trans Am version built by Carcraft. Chris Formosa had the General Lee all hooked up, and David Falvey's superb recreation of Mark Donohue's 1968 Sunoco Team Penske Camaro was good enough to take out the Bowden's own Best Presented Award. Sydney Motorsport Park is fast, flowing and fantastic for TA2 as Matt McKeldin takes the Team Kubota Performance Mustang on a hot lap.
G'day everyone, it's Matt McKeldin here in the number 5 Kubota Racing TA2 Mustang at Sydney Motorsport Park for the penultimate round of the series. Thought we might just take you for a bit of a skid around Sydney Motorsport Park. I've just bolted on some green tyres here, so I'm not going to run them too hard in this lap, but it'll give you an idea of how the cars go. So really starting to try and wind up here in second gear, running off the end of the corner just here. Car's going nice and up to third position, up to third gear now, into fourth, just in the red lights there. So we should get up to about 240, 245 k's. The car starts to really sing through here. It's just starting to get a little squirrely as I come through here. You can see there that the tyres really haven't come up to temperature just yet. Fairly big brake marker now, about the 100 metre mark, up to third, back to second. It's a double apex. Whoa, hang on, sorry, just got a little wide there. Start to pick her up, don't want to get too heavy on the throttle there because she'll spin the tyres up and cook them. Up to third gear now. Still a little bit slippery as we're going around. Take the car out to the left-hand side. Now in the race, I'd actually come back to second gear here to get a little bit more drive, but I'm trying to protect these tyres. Oh, sorry, a little bit slippery just there. Now up into the left-hander, still in third, just nursing the car a little bit. Got to be careful I don't go over more than 2 tyres over that side of the road there, because that'll get me a penalty. Back to second gear, turn it in, grab the apex there. As we come up now towards Corporate Hill, car's really quite slippery until I get to pay the heat into these tyres. Round Corporate Hill, second gear, just a little bit slidey. Sun's in my eyes, unfortunately. It's a bit hard to pick the brake marker, but back up to first gear. Looking around the corner now, get the nose nice and tight in. Start to accelerate up first gear to second gear. A little bit slippery there. Into third. One of my favourite parts of the track just here. Just coast the car through here. A light dust of the brake. Back to second gear. Take a lot of curb here. That rattles the teeth out of your head when you get that. Turn the car back in, start to accelerate up. She starts to break a little bit of traction. Up to third gear, into fourth gear now on the red light. There it is. Thanks for joining me for a lap of Sydney Motorsport Park in a TA2 Mustang.
But you know, like these cars turning in here at 255k and turning left is inspiring. I think is maybe not the right word, but you know, and it's got the fast, it's got the corners, it's got the brakes, it's got a bit of everything, you know. So and it flows well. So I love coming down here with the TA2s.
Yeah, I love the track. It's our home event for us, so we've got a lot of friends and family as well as sponsors out here. It's a great track, so it's got the great atmosphere as well. So
it's definitely a bit tricky this weekend for us. The track has been quite slippery early on, and we've been chasing the car a little bit. Definitely a baptism of fire around this place.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I had a fantastic time yesterday. That old bugger Greg Willis gave me a hard time, scared the hell out of me on the straight, but we did it, and fantastic. I had trouble actually getting my helmet off, mate. My smile was too big.
Oh, I love this track. Yeah, it was good to have a chance earlier this year to be here, and yeah, good to be back. Great track to race on. Turn 1, great fun.
Yeah, no, the track's fine. It's just that turn 1, trying to get that right. Got to really grow a pair, I suppose.
I love it. It's a great, awesome facility here. It's fast, it's flowing. You've got the slow corners as well. It's a great place. I love it.
Mate, let me roll you back about 10 years. V8 Utes, main straight here at Sydney Motorsport Park, and another driver called Brendan Tucker. Remember that day?
Tucker's car onto the front straight by the looks of things. Contact initially there. Bit more contact to go with.
And they're still going at it down the straight now. Look at that. That is probably one of the most aggressive bits of driving I've ever seen.
Well, to me, it was just racing, and he was leaning on me a bit, tried to push me out into the dirt, and I don't know, if they're gonna push, I'm gonna shove.
I got him on that corner. He went wide. I expected him to go around the other side. I took a racing line. He actually had 3 goes at trying to turn me around. The 4th one was successful.
It's just a racing incident, I've done it 400,000 times before, so no, it's no big deal.
I do seem to remember that day. Yeah, I decided a little payback was a good idea, except I did it right underneath the official stand. And then they put a microphone in my face straight after it, and I didn't help myself at all.
Due to the size of the field, qualifying was split into 2 sessions based on the times from Friday's practice. The slower 50% of the field went out first. However, when the time came, Aaron Seaton only needed 1 flying lap in the Castrol Harris Mustang to be well under the record with a 1:33.01. George Miedeke was 0.6 of a second away with Nathan Hearn, reigning champ Ashley Jarvis, and Andrew Miedeke's Dodge rounding out the top 5. Western Sydney racer Michael Coulter made the top 9 in just his 3rd series appearance, just behind Murray Kent's Camaro and ahead of the McKeldin Mustang, while teammate Hugh McAllister and Russell Wright also made the top 10. Rookie Craig Scatella had his best performance to date in the Dream Racing Camaro to qualify 12th, but it was Seaton who claimed the pole and the $500 cash from PWR Cooling Solutions.
Yeah, it felt pretty awesome out there. Obviously on a new tyre these things are amazing, and being able to get it in on that first lap is crucial, because that's when the tyre life is there the best. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. The car handled well, and look forward to the racing.
Seaton, now working as a mechanic for DJR Team Penske, won the first 2 races easily, with Miedeke and Hearn trading places for the minor podiums. At the race 3 flag fall, Seaton was again never headed. However, Miedeke passed Hearn on the first lap, while Father Andrew had a ripper 2-lap battle with Russell Wright into turn 1 at over 200 k's an hour. George Elliott went off at turn 1, while Murray Kent was showing great form to be challenging the Miedeke Dodge. Nathan Hearn repassed the Lubramax Mustang on lap 3, while Michael Coulter and Murray Kent had a brilliant stoush on lap 5, with Kent repassing in a big move a lap later, and then setting his sights on a slowing Russell Wright, getting past on the main straight on lap 7. Andrew Miedeke and Matt McKeldin were also toughing it out until lap 8, when the frustrated veteran rammed the rear of the Kubota Mustang at turn 15, spinning the number 5 around and copping a grid penalty for the next race. Hugh McAllister was back on form this weekend, pushing Jarvis's Camaro hard all the way, while Adelaide's Craig Vanderstelt missed race 2 and started from the back of the grid to pass 14 cars on his way from 29th to 15th and win the Hypercoil Springs Hard Charger Award.
I went to America to replace my existing race car. I met up with Chaz Howe, who builds TA2 cars in the US, as you see beside us here. He spoke to me about the American TA2 series, and I get the concept. I think there's a gap in the Australian marketplace for TA2 racing, but with the same spec engine, not as the American series has it, which they have different engines for different cars. So we came up with the Australian spec for TA2. Then I had a few of my good friends, Craig Harris, Russell Wright, Ian McAllister. So we'll buy one of those. So the juggernaut started, and that was probably 3 years ago now. And today we've sold 36 TA2 cars, and it's a really, really good series to be in.
I think TA2 racing is one of the best kept secrets in Australian motorsport. Very, very easy to get into. They are fantastic cars. And one of the great things, it's a big bang for buck. It's noisy, it's fast, it's fun and cheap by motorsport standards.
These engines we run in these cars is a 6.2 litre prefix engine from the US, based on the GM Motorsport motor, hydraulic roller cam, LS9 oil system on them. So they're an external oil tank, basically a dry sump system. They make 525 horsepower on pump fuel and enough torque to burn the tyres off the thing if you want to do that. Unfortunately, we don't like to see the accidents, but they are a part of racing. Most people will prefer to send the vehicle back to us, since though we have the factory jigs in the shop here. We have all the parts, we have suspension components in stock, we have chassis cuts in stock, so we can do a front clip or a centre section or a rear clip of the car. We have all the panels in stock, we can organise the paint. And we're devoted to get these cars back to how they're built from the factory. So we know all the specifications, we work very closely with the factory. If there's any more information we need to know of them, we've got it on tap. So we're basically the factory in Australia.
Score yourself out of 10.
Probably 5. I think I could have done better, but I think we're learning small pieces at a time. So I think we will get better throughout the year, definitely. Yeah.
Probably only at 6 or a 7. I know I could have done better in a lot of the races at different tracks. Some of the tracks are new too, so you're learning. But yeah, hopefully next year will be a lot better.
Probably 4 for qualifying, but an 8 for actual racing. So that's I seem to work my way up the field. I don't qualify so well, but I seem to make the best out of our old tyres throughout the weekend. So
I think I've got to lose a bit more weight, unfortunately. No, I think we've just got to continue the development of the car and try and move forward. That's all we can do, really.
Probably a 4 or a 5, and that's in performance. But still having a bucket load of fun down the back with some other guys who have been around for a while, but don't have to push the envelope that hard. And like this category's got all that. It doesn't matter where you are in the pack, you're going to have a race. So that's good stuff.
Craig's qualifying was 10 out of 10. His racing's probably a little less. George's qualifying, we over-engineered him prior to qualifying, so he failed, so that was probably a miserable 4 or 5, but his racing yesterday was outstanding. So, we're sort of getting both ends of the spectrum. If we can get them both doing qualifying and racing well, we'll be pushing the guys up the front.
Kim's at about, 2.5 at the moment. Please tell him that, okay?
And so an amazing afternoon of racing here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Look at this grid. Your high-tech grid, 29 cars, Craig Denyer. This series gets bigger and bigger.
Yes, and we've got a fantastic field here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Wado, this is the penultimate round of the series, so it's the second last round, and 16 points in the Performax Cup between Seaton and Mediki. Jarvis a further 40 points behind and 55 points up for grab in this race.
Does it have to be the second last round? I need more. This is so tasty. They're going to come to the line, Craig. Let's listen to how they sound coming down here.
Seaton's well away too. Watch Hearn in the big black Dodge right around the outside. Mediki in there in third spot. Jarvis up to fourth, so a great start so far for the top 4.
Darren Berry, look at this. There is no room to shimmy. Enormous 29 car field as they rocket into turn 2 for the first time. Second last round, race 4 here at Sydney Motorsport Park of the TA2s. We're on board with Tim Shaw. There is going to be no room to make room unless you can squeeze through somewhere. Huge field.
Yeah, 220 points up for grabs this weekend, so 10 drivers are still within a mathematical chance of winning the title, Wado, which is just amazing after the first 5 rounds.
Just saw the big number 3, the Dale Earnhardt lookalike number 3 on Van der Stel, the sprint car driver from South Australia who liked it so much. He's back for the remainder of the season. Rock over the top, and Cooley looking pretty solid as well.
Yeah, he's having a great run this weekend, so is Murray Kent. You're riding with Christopher Formosa. He's in car number 49, the General Lee, the Dodge Challenger lookalike.
Look at this field. Medicki a lot further back than I would have thought, Craig Denyer. We're talking about Andrew. If I had $1 for every lap of this joint he would have done over the years, including in things like Cosworth, Sierras and things back in the day, we'd all be rich.
Yeah, but he copped the wrath of the penalties in the race 3, Wado. He turned around Matt McKeldin at turn 15, so poor Andrew's been pushed back some 7 grid spots for the start of this race.
He rotated the real estate mogul from the Gold Coast, Matt McKeldin, back. We head down the main straight. This is going to be one of the longest main straights in Aussie circuit racing, and don't these cars eat it up. Cooley gone screen.
Tipping into here is just amazing. I mean, well over 240 k's per hour. A big move there. Hugh McAllister having a look down the inside of the reigning champ, Ashley Jarvis in car 22.
Somebody went off the track in the background then, Craig. I'm not sure what happened, but into turn 1, you just talked about it, how you're tipping in at over 240 k's an hour, and somebody has taken that to the next level. Back on screen, there it is.
That's Sean Richardson in the RTC Group Ford Mustang. Now he's got an issue here. Let's have a look at the replay. This is from Timmy Shaw's car. I'd say there's been a major engine issue with that car. He's dumped oil everywhere, smoke and flames.
Let's have a look at another angle. This is Tritton's view of the incident. Look at the flames!
Yeah, that's
Holy
a serious
cow!
That's a Ford Mustang which purchased from Chad Cotton earlier in the season. I'll call it a safety car, I think, for this situation.
Yeah, there's another look at it just from that turn 1 camera position, and we're very lucky that didn't end up a whole lot worse for a whole lot of other people. We'll come back, safety car, and then restart. Yeah. And you're watching the penultimate round of the TA2 Muscle Car Series here in Australia from Sydney Motorsport Park. Leader is Seaton from Hearn, Medicki, McAllister, and the series champ Ashley Jarvis in 5th. We're right on board with the big man from Port Macquarie, George Medicki.
He's having a great run too, but he can't quite run down Aaron Seaton this weekend. Seaton's been the pole man. He's won the first 3 races. He's set a new lap record. He's been pretty much unbeatable so far this weekend. No one can get near him.
He wants to put those size 12s out and crush Nathan Hearn like an insect, because those two, they have a fair bit of, history after Winton in particular, and it's a great rivalry. I love it. This kid is so fast in this 29 Dodge. He's sometimes faster than the race car, Craig.
Well, in fact, he's just turned 17 between rounds. He was 16 in the last round.
He's old.
He can now legally drive on the road. Not quite at this pace, though.
Look at his wheel work. He is a real wheel man. He's old man. We've talked about it before. In fact, all 3 of these guys are second generation, and their old men are legends. Now, trouble for Crutcher.
Yep.
He brings the number 4 Dodge back on track. Not sure what was the geo there, but a great history between the
top of the screen. Look at that. That's Formosa. Formosa's gone, and I think it's Craig Van der Stel too, the Adelaide sprint car driver. Now, what's happened there?
This has got hot and heavy at the top of the main straightaway. The General Lee backs up onto the racetrack. Let's have a look what happens here. Is there contact? Oh, it would seem so.
That's Formosa's vision. He just touches lightly the wall. Let's have a look and see if we can see what happened with Van der Stel.
Oh, look at this. It's close.
Oh, touch there. Just enough to unsettle him.
I think as Roscoe P. Coltrane would have said, Formosa unfortunately unloads. We're back at the front of the field now. Medicki with enormous pressure. He's got by Hearn.
Yeah,
that's a big result for him.
Let's have a look at the replay. Coming down into turn 1. Oh, Hearn's just got a little bit loose. And that's given Medicki, I think, a run down the inside of the Gulf Western Oils Dodge.
How's the wheel work on Hearn just then? He came into that turn like his old man in a V8 turn, modified at Lismore. just almost backed the thing in. Now he's coming up behind George.
And he's got him
he
again.
Returns serve. George is not going to like this, but you know what? The competitor in George Miedeke will love this. He loves a good stoush, doesn't he?
He certainly does, and he's pushed hard by his father, Andrew, too. They're a great team. They've done a fantastic job in motorsport this year with this two-car team based out of Port Macquarie. McAllis now, too, he's eyeing up Miedeke, I think, in the Performax Kubota Mustang. He's closing on Miedeke, so I wonder whether there might be a problem with George's car. Yeah, something going on there.
Because look how quickly Hearn was able to drive away and quickly gap him. We talked about the second generation factor in the top three, but then throw in Hugh McAllister's old man, who's been a significant player in the early part of V8 Ute racing, and of course now in TA2 as well. McAllister goes by as well. It is all happening here at the TA2's Sydney Motorsport Park. Don't go away. Welcome back to Sydney Motorsport Park. You're watching the penultimate round of the TA2 Muscle Car Series Australia, and you just see Seaton leading sideways again. I love watching this kid race. Seaton is clinical, he's surgical. Nathan Hearn is just banging to the floor.
A good battle back through the field too. This is Russell riding car 55, the yellow Mustang. Timmy Tritton on Mark Crutcher. Rusty had a flat tyre or a deflating tyre in race 3, fell back through the field, and now clawing his way back towards the front of the field again.
I do love a
Timmy Tritton,
Yeah, I do love a big fat number as well, Craig. The big number 12 of Shaw. You cannot miss that car. Nice little battle on screen here before the 44 car and Formosa as they work their way to this right-hander. Greg Willis, the Crosstalk Racing number 44.
Yeah, good to see Freddie back in the field. He's missed a couple of rounds this year, but he's come back this weekend. Not sure whether he's going to continue in the series next year or not. He's kind of having a bit of a thought about that at the moment. He enjoys motorbike riding. He actually loves doing big outback rides on his bike, which has kind of taken a bit of priority for him this year.
Very handy with the remote control yacht as well. This guy on screen is actually Peter Parker. He's Spider-Man in his spare time. It's incredible. Formosa, he travels throughout Europe and in fact New York City and Times Square dressed in an incredible look-alike Spider-Man suit. He's a remarkable cat, 24 years of age, out of Liverpool in New South Wales. What a character.
Andy McKeldin, car number 5 there, closing up on Murray Kent, who's having a great round this weekend as well in car 74, the silver Camaro on screen at the moment.
That's good too, Craig. You see a lot of really distinctive colour schemes in this class, and there's another great example of it as well with the 11 car. Everybody's got their own look and feel. Isn't Michael Coulter having a blinder?
He's having a great time, and Miedike's going backwards. I reckon the car might be stuck in 4th gear. Just watching the onboards and everything, Wado, there's no action going on the gear lever. I wouldn't be surprised if the car's stuck in gear, and that's why he's falling back through the field.
Ashley Jarvis manages to scoot through, so too does Coulter. You just saw then Cooley earlier having a pretty strong run. Now he's in the top 10. There's some new faces up in this top 10, Craig. That's exciting stuff. Coulter's running solid. Kent is solid. Cooling is in the 10. So is McKeldin. So this is exciting stuff for some new blood to be up in the top 10.
Both getting now a run on Miedeke again. But yeah, Cooley had a big crash at the first round here at Sydney Motorsport Park in March this year. Absolutely totaled the car. They had to build a new car around a new frame. So it's great to see him back on the pace this weekend. He went hard into the wall at turn 1. And as I said, they totally had to rebuild the car.
Ducking and weaving into turn 2 is the 74 car on screen. The retro motorsport entry of Murray Kent out of Queensland. That 77 car too, the Elite Smash Repairs entry of Bill Robinson. Oh, was that Formosa just stepping the tail out a bit? Careful, Spidey. Make sure you can hang on to this right on the edge of the track to the right as well. Is that Scatella?
That's Scatella in there with Bill Robinson, the lawyer from the Central Coast of New South Wales. Scatella had a great qualifying session up there in the top 12.
I love Scatella. He's got a bit of attitude, a bit of swagger. He's up the inside.
And Formosa around the outside.
He does a lot of racing, of course, a lot of laps with George Miedeke. with the whole fast track driving side of things. So he's always behind the wheel trying to further himself. And I love the fact that his name rhymes with the Nutella, because he's just a little bit nutty, and I love that.
Badiki, second in the Performax Cup standings at the moment, won't like this, falling back through the field, losing valuable series points.
Just to the outside of him, just watching who that is lurking with intent, just to his left side, and it's one of the Kubota cars just squeezing through. So
Yeah,
McAllister's on a mission
got
now. McKeldin up to 8th, Craig. So there's the last lap, and the checkered flag is out, Craig. What a win for Seaton. Hearn, McAllister, great result for 3rd. Coulter in 4th. Jarvis in 5th. Wow.
And the battle is still on. They're still racing. This is Catella and Crutcher in the big number 4 Dodge.
You don't reckon these blokes would have a smile a mile wide. It's going on right back through the field. You got Robinson. There was Spider-Man in the General Lee car. Formosa tips it in across the bottom. What a ripping race this has been. On board, Formosa's waving the arms around. It's going on.
Coming down to take the final corner now. So this is a great battle, well back in the field, and a good result too for Billy Robertson in car 77. There's Don Dimitriadis in car 2, that beautiful Dan Gurney Trans Am lookalike colour scheme from 1969. And getting a run down the main straight, there's Formosa on Dimitriadis, and they're coming up on Berry. Oh, so quick!
Jeez. He got both of them in the end. Wow, just managed to squeeze past the Don. Seaton, your winner from Hearn, McAllister, Coulter, Jarvis, Kent, Coolig, Matt McKeldin, George Miedeke held on for 9th, and Andrew got back up to position number 10. That's your high-tech leaders in steel framing grid result. What a race. Race 4, round 2 of the TA2 Muscle Car Series.
And we love this category. We've been in it for 2 years now. And as I said earlier, it's just so welcoming to be a part of it because everyone's so friendly and everyone helping everybody. And it's just, at the end of the day, it's just like we've just had a party and we're all enjoying what we're doing. Been in motor racing a long while, and you can get to a stage where it can get a little bit stale because you sort of get in the, I suppose, the environment where everybody wants to kill you because they want to win races. But this environment in this class has just been so opening and so welcoming to everybody, and after all the years I've been in, it's so welcoming to be a part of it, and Aaron's so proud to be a part of the series because it's got so much future to in the future of where it's going to go.
So let's take a look at the round results, and Seaton getting the win from Hearn, Miedeke, McAllister. What a round for him. Defending champ Jarvis, Coulter, Kent, McKeldin, Russell Wright and Andrew Miedeke rounding out the 10th.
Towards the end of the weekend, to be able to gain that much time to stay and put pressure on him throughout the races is it's a big accomplishment, and I'm really proud of myself, Dad and John, and how I've been able to learn these cars so quickly.
So let's take a look at your Performax Cup 2019 TA2 Muscle Car Series points with 1 round to go. Seaton leads from George Miedeke, Ashley Jarvis, Andrew Miedeke, Russell Wright, Hugh McAllister, Murray Kent, Nathan Hearn, Matt McKeldin and Michael Kulik rounding out your 10. Russell Wright takes yet another Serco Award in the Masters class from Tim Tritton and Peter Robinson. Western Sydney's Michael Coulter had his best result for the season with 6th outright for the round and winning the Willwood Big Breaker Award. Don't forget, our final round is at Queensland Raceway, November 2 and 3. Make sure you get across the TA2 Australia website, all the Facebook page and social media action. We look forward to seeing you at the paperclip at Queensland Raceway.